Welcome to Banquet Breakdown.
I'm Jack.
I'm Sarah.
And we break down fictional relationships so you don't have to.
Welcome here. Welcome to another episode. So excited you're here listening with us or watching. Yes. Hey, Jack, what's your sip?
What is my sip? That is a good question. Because I'm trying to remember. It's Pepsi Zero. Like some form of diet soda. I don't know.
Oh my word. Did you actually forget?
I did for a second. I was like, wait.
Well, we're going loopy in here. It's another late night episode, so that's what you get. Now you know us well enough that late night means crazy.
Yes. What's your sip?
My sip is peppermint tea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm taking one from your books.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've had peppermint tea, so...
Yeah, I should have done a tea.
You should have.
Because the pop's just given me the burps. So...
This will be interesting.
Yeah.
Some ASMR.
Like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the only things Brayden has really had to edit out of these is my burps and Millie's noises.
We should just do, like, a compilation of all of them. Oh, man. Yeah. Hey, maybe that will, like, make us go big, you know?
Yeah, like, that'll go viral.
That'll go
Oh my goodness. He could probably make the burp sound like a song or something, I'm sure. There's been so many. Anyways.
The theme of Gilmore Girls. Wow, okay, we're already unhinged. Oh my goodness.
We haven't even talked about what we're talking about today.
What we're talking about. Okay, so I'm going to introduce what we talked about because I forced Jack to watch this.
Yes.
This is my pick. And this is about the TV show called Four Seasons, which by the time you're listening to this, the second season should be coming out on Netflix. Mm-hmm. I think they said around the end of May. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even realize that they were going to do a second season. I have no idea what it's going to be about, but I mean, I can guess, but like still.
Yeah.
I saw this when it first came out. So Four Seasons is with Tina Fey, Steve Carell. There's a few other big names in there as well.
Yeah. A lot of SNL people.
Yeah, a lot of SNL people. And I kind of was like, well, I know all of these are great actors, so I'm curious what the show is about. Binged the show. And it just, like, I had so many thoughts, and I wanted to talk to somebody about it, but everybody that I talked to had never seen it, nor were they interested in watching it. Mm-hmm. I don't even think I had mentioned it to you when I had watched it, but I was like, have you seen this show? Have you seen this show? Like, I was constantly asking people if they had seen it, and no one had seen it. And I was like, what? Like, because it's just so, there's just so many layers to it, and I wanted people to talk about this show with. And so I said to Jack, we need to do an episode about this because there's so many relationship dynamics, and I wanted to hear your thoughts. Mm-hmm. And so I forced you to watch it, and I'm so curious to know because I kind of have a vibe. You're giving a vibe of what your things are. Yeah. So that is kind of the premise of why we're talking about this. But if you haven't watched the show, I don't know. Like, I would recommend it just to, like, check it out. But it's also a very interesting vibe. So I know it's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
Jack, did you like the show? Just, should we say that right out the bat?
I'm going to save my opinions.
Uh-huh. As we go
later.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you like the show?
I did and I didn't. Like, it's not something that I would go back to all the time. Like, it's kind of a drama comedy. A drama.
Yeah, and I would say it's almost more drama than
it's more
comedy.
Drama. Yeah. Like, there's... Yeah.
Considering the cast, I, like...
Yes. It felt more
barely
drama.
A comedy.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see those actors play dramatic characters. Mm-hmm. I liked it because of all of the different relationship elements, which we'll get into. Mm-hmm. So I liked it for that because I was like, wow, I've never seen a show do all of this. Like, all of the relationship elements that they had, I was like, whoa, there's not a lot of shows doing that or showing this.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
But, so I think that's what I like the most about it.
Yeah.
So I like it for that, but it's not something that I'm, like, just gonna go and watch any day. Like, it's not a Parks and Rec or a Gilmore Girls or whatever. Yeah. Like, it's kind of, you've got to be in the mood for it. So, yeah.
And to give just a quick idea, like, if you haven't seen this show, basically it follows these 3 couples who are friends from college, and they go on trips kind of a few times a year together.
Yeah.
And in the first episode, you find out that one of the main characters, Steve Carell's character, wants to divorce his wife. So Steve Carell's character tells a bunch of the other characters that he wants to divorce his wife.
Yeah.
And then in the second episode, she is trying to throw a surprise vow renewal for him. And so it's this awkward dynamic of like, okay, there's these 3 couples, they've been friends for a long time. Most of them have been together for a long time.
Yeah,
right?
For over 30 years.
Yeah. And then they throw in this wrench of like one of the couples wants to split up.
Yeah.
And so then there's this question in the air of like, okay, what are these friendships going to look like going forward?
Yeah.
And so then in the third episode, you actually find out that Steve Carell's character is now dating a 32-year-old. And Steve Carell, I think they're supposed to be kind of like mid-50s, early 50s.
Yeah, mid-50s, yeah.
So it's a very decent age gap.
Yeah.
And we can talk more about that later. But then it kind of follows these friends navigating. Now they have these 2 separate friendships that they want to maintain. So they're trying to navigate like, okay, now these 2 friends of ours who we used to hang out together have split up. How do we navigate this? And how do we keep these friendships alive, kind of thing.
And they decide to like alternate.
Yeah.
So the Nick and Anne are the ones that get divorced, and they decide to alternate. For every vacation, one of them will go on the vacation and one of them won't. Yeah. Which is like, it's just, it's hard because it's like, how do you navigate that as a friend group? Yeah. Where you've all been together for so long and now this one couple isn't together.
She almost did. Got that. Did you see that? Okay. If you're only listening to the audio, Millie just tried to run over the laptop that we like record the audio on, and I picked her up just in the nick of time.
She almost fell into the laptop.
Yeah, that was crazy. Okay.
You are wild.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyways, it's like, how do you navigate those relationships when one couple is now not together and you've had years of friendship and they always do these vacations. So now they've decided to like, it's kind of like a custody battle between the friends.
Yeah, it is. Well, and they also, because there's this younger person now dating Nick, he's taking her along on these trips. And so it changes their dynamic a lot because now they're trying to keep up with this 30-something, right? They want to look cool for like the younger person in the group. And it really does change a lot for them. Yeah. And it's interesting to see how it affects the other couples as well. Yes. Because they start having their own doubts and other things come up. And it's just interesting. It's kind of like a domino effect, right? Like the one couple separates and then these other couples, you see them. In the first episode, you don't get any hint that they're not doing well together.
No,
like you very much get the sense that they're like a strong, healthy couple.
All of the couples don't seem to have any idea that this is coming. Yeah, it's kind of seems like the divorce is out of the blue.
Yeah, the divorce is very out of the blue for them. And then throughout the rest of the show, which it's called 4 seasons because they jump from like spring to summer to fall to winter kind of thing. Like, as they follow these friendships, these couples. And... honestly, okay, I'm just going to say this, though, like, before I share too many opinions. It was realistic, I think, in a lot of the ways that they portrayed these relationships. It wasn't a show... It felt almost, like, weirdly enough to say, almost felt like a documentary. Yeah. Like, less like a show, like, sitcom, family drama, and more like a documentary just following these couples' lives. I don't know if you kind of felt the same, but... that's the vibe I got.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, it's still dramatized.
That is very much of like what a drama is. Like I think
in some ways.
I think a lot of what we talk about is like the fantasy, the like unrealistic type relationships. And I think
even Gilmore Girls.
That's not unrealistic. Yeah. And it's like very out of out of this world. Like,
this would never happen.
You know it's just for fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I thought that this was so interesting, and why I wanted to discuss it, because it's like, it is like you're following real couples. Like, even the one couple, Kate and Jack, I had to remember their names for a second. Kate and Jack, like, we see them first, and you do see that there's like some tension in their relationship. And I think it's just interesting because it's like, you can see that they're a good match together in a lot of ways, but they also are going through these seasons where it's like they don't like each other. And I think that that's like, that happens. Like, that happens in marriage.
Yeah, and I think what makes their struggles harder is actually the divorce of these friends, because I think what I was going to say before is like, it has this domino effect, and I do think this happens in real life too, where, you know, if there's different couple friends, like, one of the couples separates, and then all of a sudden it's starting to make all of the other friends in that friend group question their relationship, right? And it all of a sudden puts this, like, spotlight on your issues almost. And I think one thing that I got frustrated with watching this show is that, like, the Kate and Jack eventually end up deciding to go to therapy, like, closer to the end of the show. And part of me is just like, why didn't you do that earlier? Like, I just, the second you had a friend go through a divorce, a friend couple go through a divorce, like, you probably just should have already done that. Like, be proactive about it, right? If you're seeing, like, oh, there was these holes in this relationship we didn't see, we're having some frustrations, like, go to therapy. But that's just my biased opinion.
Yeah. Well.
But anyway.
Yes. And I think it is easy, though, on the outside looking in, to say, like, couldn't you have seen it earlier? And then, you know, there's things that are brewing right under the surface.
But that's what I'm saying. The separation puts that spotlight on other issues, right?
Yeah. You don't always know what those issues are, but it's hard to watch, because you're just like, all of these things could have been probably talked about earlier, but I think that people, like, get into these patterns and then they don't see it. And even this friend group, like, I think we've talked about this before, specifically with friends, but, like, you can kind of get into these patterns of, like, you're not really talking about deep stuff. You're just talking about, like, shallow, everyday stuff. And I think that's kind of what this friend group seemed, was, like, they're going on these vacations together. They're seeing each other in, like, a glimpse of time and catching up. But they're not really talking about the deep stuff until later on, when circumstances force them to, right? Yeah. And then they're like, oh, okay, there are some really deep things going on in our friend group. How can we support each other? Yeah.
Actually, one interesting thought I had on that kind of line of thought, the third couple in this, we haven't really mentioned them yet, Danny and Claude. So they are a gay couple. They've been together a long time. They have an open relationship. So their relationship is just unique right from the get-go, right? But there's this great moment, because Kate and Danny are pretty close.
Yes.
Throughout the show. And they have this moment where, like, Kate is really frustrated with her marriage, and she sees that Danny and Claude have had their own struggles and stuff, and her and Danny are hanging out, and she's just, like, talking some serious smack about Claude.
Yeah.
And Danny at one point just stops the conversation and is like, no, I'm not gonna let you do this. And they have kind of a fight, and then they don't talk until the next time they go on a trip together. And so there's this thing hanging in the air of just, like, he was able to actually stand up for his significant other, even though I think they're married, right?
Yeah, I think they are married. Yeah.
He was able to stand up for his husband, but, like, still there was issues in that relationship, right? Yeah. And so I kind of admired that, though, because it was this moment where it was like, oh man, like, he could have just dumped on his spouse with her. He could have jumped on that train and been like, yeah, because they both love to gossip. That was kind of like one of the things
was their
between
thing.
them. Yeah. And so he could have just decided, like, I'm mad at my spouse. I'm going to jump on this bandwagon of, you know, talking badly about him, but he didn't. And he stood up for him, even though he was frustrated with him. And I went like, wow.
Yeah, I know.
That was significant. Like, not a lot of people would have done that.
No. Yeah, especially because that friendship in particular, they say they've been friends for such a long time. And they were actually kind of the original, because even before Kate got married to Jack, it was always her and Danny. They were really good friends. And
I think they joked that they dated up one point.
Yeah. Did they...
Very, very briefly.
Right. Very briefly. Yeah. But I think, yeah, like along those lines, like it's interesting because there's a very fine line of like, we need help. We need to like vocalize that we're struggling, but then also at what point does it become then bashing your spouse, right? Yeah. And I did think that that was so interesting because there's so many shows out there that portray couples just bashing their spouse or their significant other to their friends or whatever. And I really think that that moment like was so real and so like you could see that he took the high road of realizing I could go down this road, like what you're saying, but chose to not. Yeah. And like it's hard. It was hard for him to do because that's his really close friend. Yeah. And then they're not talking. And then I just had this on because I was like refreshing, and that was the moment where they were like reconnecting, and then they were like, okay, tell me all the stuff. Like they, you know, they want to like reconnect, but he had to make sure that like that's a boundary that she doesn't cross, right? Yeah. Yeah. All of the couples are very unique. Yeah. 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 What did you think about how the divorce then kind of happened? Or like, did you think that Anne was going to be able to change Nick's mind? No. Or through that whole second episode?
No, I didn't. Yeah. No, they were trying, I think, so the way that the second episode unfolds, like at the end of the first episode, he says he wants to get a divorce from Anne. And then in the second episode, she's setting up this vow renewal.
And she doesn't know. He's told his friends, but she doesn't.
Well, she doesn't know.
They think she doesn't know. Yeah.
But then there's a moment where Kate goes and talks to her because she's like, all these friends are struggling with like, okay, she's planning this whole thing. Do we go and tell her that he told us he wants a divorce? And so they're like, between Kate and Jack, they're going back and forth, like trying to go talk to her and then coming back and being like, I couldn't say it. I couldn't do it. And so then Kate goes and talks to Anne and basically says like, how are you doing? And Anne confides in her that, I don't think she says this exactly, but she communicates that it's kind of her way of trying to save their marriage. Yeah. Yeah. By doing this vow renewal. And so I don't think she's blind to the issues. I think she's just wishing for the best and hoping that they can just move past it rather than actually like sit down and deal with it. And then Steve Carell's character, Nick, gets back to this surprise vow renewal, and he goes up the aisle, and they're almost making it look like he's going to renew the vows.
Like
and
he's acting
he's actually going to, because he's getting like emotional while they're, you know, saying their, I think it's their vows that they're talking through and stuff. And then all of a sudden their shed explodes. Yeah. And that's where episode 2 ends, is that the shed explodes. And you're sitting there like, okay.
It's imagery for
their relationship.
Their marriage is just, has
and exploded. It was because she got into pottery and he set up the kiln himself in the shed. And anyway, it explodes. And so you don't know what actually happens if they stay together or not. And then the start of episode 3, you see a blonde woman who looks kind of similar to Anne from far away in the water. And then she runs closer and you realize it's this young 32-year-old that Nick is now dating. So it's clearly they got a divorce. Yes. But yeah.
And now, like then as the show goes on, you have to deal with them, Nick and Anne, having these different relationships. So, you know, the first one is showing Nick and this young 32-year-old and how their friends are just like kind of awkward, but like also trying to be cool and like trying to figure out how to add somebody into the friend group at that point, which when you've known each other for so long, then it's hard.
You've been couple friends.
It's hard
for
to do.
Long. Like,
yes.
That would be a very weird shift.
Yep.
And then they have a hard time with it too.
They do. Yeah. They all kind of go through this identity crisis in that one episode where they're like all trying to figure out, wait, who am I? Right? Because I think like for them, they're just like, oh, I remember when I was that age, right? Like it's just bringing them back to what they were doing in that age. My favorite part is when Danny and Claude go to this resort because, the Ginny is her name. Nick's new girlfriend, and Ginny decides to pick the place, and she picks this like glamping like kind of like this like kind of yurt experience and like this like hippie vibe and and Danny and Claude are just like, we need high-end stuff, so they book, well, they don't book a room, they sneak into a resort that's down the beach and they end up running into Anne. So Anne is still connected to Nick's photos.
His family iCloud.
They're still connected. So she can see all of the photos of his new girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And it is making her, like, just go insane.
And she knew that they were there, too. Because they didn't actually... None of the friends told her that they were going on this trip either.
No, yeah. And so then they kind of just went, and then were planning to tell her later, but then she could see from the photos where the location setting was. So she ends up booking at this resort and runs into Danny
and she
Claude.
plans on confronting them and then decides after she gets there that she won't. But then, she
gets too scared. Yeah. But that whole scene, like, at the resort and stuff is just so funny because you also get this insight of, like, how Anne is doing. Yeah. Because in some ways it's kind of like Anne was kind of added into the group because she didn't go to college with them. Right. She just met them through Nick. Yeah. So Nick went to college with them, but she was kind of an add-in, and I think she kind of feels a little bit like left out of like she's the one that then doesn't get in, right? Yeah. And that, or like that's kind of how it feels. Mm-hmm. And this vacation you kind of get to see where she's at, and she's not doing good. No. And again, it's like you can just see, okay, the end of a relationship. We've talked so much about, like, the start of a relationship or whatever, but we haven't talked a lot about the end of a relationship and how hard that can be.
We've talked about the end of, like, dating relationships, but not a 25-plus year marriage.
Yes.
Like, that's a totally different thing as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. Like, you can kind of see her going through, like I said, this identity crisis of, like, who is just her, not as, like, mom and not as wife and not as friend even to that group, but, like, who is she?
I just loved Anne because I felt like you got a real picture of, because she also, you know, she had these certain pressures she was trying to maintain in the relationship. I just love that you could see her kind of just going through all of these things and really... You know, she had all these pressures in her marriage where she felt like she had to be a certain way or had to act a certain way. And then one of the episodes a little later, so it's the fall episodes, they go to their kids' college because Anne and Nick's daughter and Kate and Jack's daughter are both going to the same college. Mm-hmm. And they go to this parents' day. And Danny and Claude are invited because they're... I think uncles. They're considered their uncles, but also they're godparents of... I don't know if both... kids, but Anne and Nick's daughter for sure.
I think maybe both.
Mm-hmm. But so they go along as well. And Claude is like, I haven't seen you in however long, and you take me to a parents' weekend? Anyway. Yeah. But they Nick brings the girlfriend and the daughter, her name is Lila, she is like not okay with it. Yeah. And you can tell she's not okay with it. And I think she's like a theater major or something. She wrote a play that she will be doing this during this weekend. And the play was my favorite part of the whole show.
I loved that moment.
The play was hilarious. The play was basically her just being like, Dad, you ripped our family apart. I hate you. And then you brought this girl into our home who's like, anyway.
Because you think that there's this breakthrough moment of like, because they buy the shelf.
Thrifting, they go thrifting.
And then Ginny's like, oh yeah, I've got this. And Ginny's like helping her pick out a shelf. And
and she's like, it doesn't need to be expensive. Yeah. Like, I just need it for this. Like, I need it for something for college or
Ginny's
whatever.
like, yes, we're bonding. Like, this is so great.
They're like picking the shelf. And then in this play, she destroys the shelf. It's so funny.
Just like completely demolished.
It was hilarious. But then after that, the dad, like Nick's character, goes up to the daughter and is like, that was unacceptable. You need to apologize to Ginny. And the mom, like, Anne is just sitting there like, she's got this smug look. And so then the daughter storms off, obviously, right? Because she's so upset. The play was just like a way for her to express her feelings around this divorce and how it tore their family apart. In her mind, that's what happened, right? Like, her family's totally ripped apart. And So the daughter walks away, and I love this moment for Anne's character growth, especially where she's like, normally I would baby you about this, but you really messed that up.
Yep.
And I'm not going to hold back on saying that because I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And there was this part of me that was like, man, if she'd have just had that freedom in their marriage, like, it might have been different.
Yeah.
For both of them.
To stand up for herself and what she thinks.
Because I think so many people get trapped in that. This is maybe getting a little, like, too deep here for a second, but I think a lot of people get trapped in these negative cycles, right? And then they just feel stuck. Mm-hmm. And they don't feel like they can be authentic or speak their own mind, right? And so then in moments like that, it's like, okay, like, those are the moments that help actually bring you together. When you're just honest and you're kind of vulnerable in a way. Mm-hmm. It's just to say, like, you know what? I don't care what you're going to think right now. And I'm just going to say this, right? Yeah. I feel like that dynamic would have probably worked for them if
she would have had more of that. Maybe, But I loved that for her character growth, like, in throughout the season. Like, especially the contrast, because the episode before you're seeing you're seeing this, like, she's like lost it, like she can't do anything, right?
This is when she's at the resort,
yes
and she has this hilarious moment at the resort too where she buys a bunch of these, like,
strawberry surfers. Yes. Just like little classic knick-knack that you would find at a resort,
and for some reason she buys like 20 of them and just like crashes them over her balcony, and she has this breakthrough moment where she's like, I'm just losing it.
Yeah. But also, okay, I think it's important to mention the timeline, because we talked about this a little bit, but I think just to clarify, like, this is only going through one whole year. Yeah. So when Nick decides to get divorced from Anne, that's in the spring. Yeah. That's the spring episode. And so then flash forward to the fall, which is like 6 months maybe. Like, that is then when he's bringing this new girlfriend to his daughter's school, right? Yeah. So, like, if you think of it in the mind,
maybe 6 months.
Yeah, like maybe, right?
6 to 8 months.
But then even they went on vacation for summer vacation. With Ginny.
Probably
before that, probably only
after.
3 or 4 months. So I think that's where, especially for the daughter, like, that whole scene, and then even for Anne as well, like, it's like, okay, you messed this up. Like, yes, you can have, eventually you're going to have another relationship. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But the timeline of it, that's not okay. Yeah. That's my opinion.
And even the mom defends the daughter, being like, this is her way of, expressing her own emotions about what you did to our family. Yeah. Like, she has every right to do that.
Yeah. And she's an adult at this point. So it's like, she
doesn't have to apologize. She actually says this too. Anne is like, she doesn't have to apologize to Ginny unless she decides she wants to. Yeah. She doesn't owe her anything. Yeah. And I loved that too, because I just felt like Anne really came into herself at that moment and was just like, I'm figuring out that, like, I'm a strong, independent woman.
Well, and also because nobody in the friend group is saying to Nick, like they had a group chat or something. They mentioned something about, like, they knew that she was going to be there, that Ginny was going to be there. Mm-hmm. And I think it's like nobody's saying to them, hey, this is probably not a good idea. Maybe next year, but, like,
give her some time.
Not the same year that you divorce your wife of 25 years.
And then the daughter brings up too, because he says, well, you told me I could bring her. And she's like, you asked me while she was standing right there, what was I supposed to say? Right? Yeah. And that's just, I think the way that they handled this is so interesting, because it did feel very much like reflective of real life, but also the daughter just being so upset and being like, you're putting me in these awkward positions, like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what I can do. Like, it's kind of, parents sometimes abuse that power dynamic that they have with their kids, especially in divorce situations where they go like, oh, well, I'm going to choose to bring this person around, or I'm going to do this, and
you're okay with that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, what's the kid supposed to say? Yeah. Right? Even if they're an adult, like, there's still there's always going to be that, you know.
Yeah. Imbalance. This is why I was so fascinated with the show, is because, yes, for sure, there's been shows out there that have showed divorced couples, or then even children of divorce. But I think this is just so real that I was like, oh, wow. Like, this feels so different than any other show for navigating different relationships. And I was like, especially that scene at the college. It's just like, this is crazy.
Also, I think it's in the college, like, that the fall episodes as well. There's kind of 2 episodes per season. There's only 8 episodes in the show. But the daughter also says, we can all agree that Dad's just dating a younger version of Mom, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, go off, queen. Like, because literally the second I saw her, I was like, she looks just like Anne.
Yes, but younger.
30 years, or 20 years younger, or whatever it is. Yeah. They, honestly, okay, if I have to be honest, and I don't know, I'm curious to think what you thought too, but they made Nick look really bad.
Yeah.
Like, he's
awful.
Yeah, okay.
No. And that's, I think, what is very interesting, because you see a show that has Steve Carell in it.
Yeah.
And you want to like it.
Yeah.
But you don't. Because his character...
You don't like him, for sure.
You don't like him. It's the same as, I don't know if you've ever seen The Morning Show.
No, I haven't, actually.
He's in that one, too. It's on Apple TV. And he, like, his character also plays, like, this douchebag, and you're just like, what the heck? Like, where is the Steve Carell from The Office, right? Like, you want to, like, associate him with that, but the last few things that he's been in, he was just recently on Good Hang.
Oh, yeah.
This week. Or, well, for me, this week. And go watch that episode. But he said that he's liking getting into more drama stuff. And he does a really good job of that.
Yeah, he does well. It's just so hard when you've known him for so long. Yeah.
Because you want to love this actor, but his character is just awful. So,
well, okay, and actually, I was kind of reminded, have you ever watched Dan in Real Life? Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
It was kind of reminding me of that a little bit, like that character for him.
Yes.
But that movie, because he is a little bit more serious. He's not as funny. He's not the funny one in the family in that movie, if you've ever seen that movie. He's kind of the serious, quiet one. And that was actually the first movie that I ever watched with him.
Oh, okay.
And
interesting.
it was the first thing I ever saw with him in it.
Yeah.
And so then switching to The Office, I was like, oh, like, he's very funny, right?
Yeah.
And then having this flip-flop back for me, I was like, whoa, this is so reminiscent of this movie. But, like, the character's very different, obviously. But he does play the character well.
He does,
You kind of hate him.
Yeah. Yeah, which means he's doing a good job, right? Yeah.
And even in Dan in Real Life, you kind of hate him a little bit.
You don't like,
Yeah. And then at the end, you're kind of like, okay, this is fine. But that's another example of, like, a very kind of real life feeling movie, right?
Yeah. I like that movie too. Go watch Dan in Real Life, because that's also a really good one too. Yeah, he does a really good job of portraying that character that, like, you just hate, because you're like, what are you doing? Like, your actions are causing all of these things.
Yeah.
And he's also not really a great friend then. So, like, all of them went to college together and they have this great relationship. But then as soon as he announces the divorce, he becomes like this. It almost seems like his character changes, because I feel like his friends are kind of acting like, okay, wait, like, we don't really know who this is.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they act
They're
around him.
Trouble connecting with him.
Yeah. And so you kind of see him losing those connections with his friends, because, okay, now he is in a new relationship. He's dating. He's not married. He is now dating somebody a lot younger than all of his friends. Like, he's kind of being pulled away from his friends, and then not really, like, keeping those connections. So, he just, throughout the course of the show, becomes a really hateable character. Yeah. Which then...
Do we want to say?
I
don't know.
Should we say that now?
I don't know. Do we want to just leave it? Because then people could just go watch it. It could be their encouragement to watch the show.
Okay, go watch the show, because we didn't give a spoiler warning.
No, we didn't.
At the beginning of this episode. Yeah. But okay, go watch the show, pause it, and then come back, because there is a huge thing. But I think we should talk about it, because the last episode, there's a lot that happens.
Yes. So, big spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the show, do not listen to the rest of what we're about to say. Turn it off. Go watch the show. Come back. Yep. Okay.
Because this, like, my jaw dropped.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
So in the episode 7, which is the second last episode, they do, it's like the winter trip. And so every year this group of friends, minus Nick this year, they all go to a cabin to celebrate New Year's. And so he's with Ginny.
I know you want to say Jenny, but it's Ginny. Yeah.
He goes with Ginny and Ginny's circle of friends, which are all these, like, 30-something vegan.
I feel like they're younger than 30. That's the vibe. I was just watching it and I was like,
because we're that age.
I know.
And I was like, man.
No, but even her, like, she acts different, I feel like, than her other friends. I feel like they're more like 24, 25.
Could be. Yeah. anyways.
Fresh out of college. Anyways.
He's spending New Year's with them, and Anne has a new boyfriend that she's bringing along who she doesn't really like, but it's just, he's there.
Yeah.
And
Terry.
so they're all at this place where they go every year. And so this is the first year that Nick is not there with them. Mm-hmm. And they have this moment where they FaceTime Nick, and Nick uses that as a way to kind of escape the stuff with Ginny's friends, because he's not really enjoying his time with them.
Yeah.
He's realizing he's a lot older.
Yeah.
He has nothing in common with them. He tells this funny joke, and it's hilarious because they're flashing back and forth between the two groups, and they're both telling the story, and everyone is laughing in his normal friend group, and then the 30-year-olds don't get it because they don't know who the person is that he references, and so it's this whole thing. He just feels old. He goes and FaceTimes his friends. They get off the phone, and then that episode ends with an interesting event.
He goes to pick up some food, do a grocery run.
Because he didn't get groceries that her friends could eat, that Ginny's friends could eat.
So him and Ginny have this fight.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to mention, because they have this huge fight.
After he FaceTimes his friends, he stays in his room and does not go back to the party.
And she's just like, why are you not even trying? She's like, I was always trying. It was awkward for me with your friends.
Yeah.
She's like, I had to try, and now you're not even trying. Like, what's the point of this? And so she's like, I'm going to go spend time with my friends. Like, we're going to go for a walk. And if you want to join us, like, and change your attitude, she's basically like, don't come out of your room until your attitude's changed. Yeah. And so then he's kind of thinking about it, and he's like, okay, you can kind of see him being like, all right, I haven't really changed my attitude or whatever. Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to go and try to make it up for them. So he goes to the store to try to get some snacks. You see him buying snacks. And then the next thing that you see is Kate getting a call from Ginny.
And they have this whole moment, like, her phone ends up in a hot tub. Right?
Yes, they're, like, worried about that. They're worried
so then her phone's not working for a little bit, and then it turns on.
She goes and turns it on, and
there's a bunch of messages.
And Nick has been in a car accident, and he dies.
Straight up dies.
Dead.
Dead.
Which is also why I'm like, Kate, there's a season 2. Oh, okay. Well, there's reasons, but yes. Okay, but first of all, Kate, what was your reaction to that? Because I did not see that coming.
Okay, I have to be honest. I didn't really enjoy this show that much. I was watching it because we had agreed to talk about it. And
I forced her.
If we were not going to be talking about it, I would have stopped after episode 3, probably.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And so anyway, the show, it had its moments for me. Like the daughter's play, that was worth watching. But at that point, I just was like, okay. Like when he died, I was like, sure, that's fine. It is what it is. Of course he died. I don't know. What is the show?
To me, that was crazy. Because I was just like, okay, like, I don't know. I think I was, like, expecting 4 seasons. I'm like, okay, you're going to see these couples in all different seasons. Yeah. Like, that makes sense. And then to have one of them die in a drama, like, a drama comedy, but I was like, what? Yeah. Like, what? And I actually had to rewind it and I watched all of that again because I was, like, my brain could not comprehend that they had done this. Yeah, no, I was like, what?
That's so funny. I had a very different reaction. I just was like, okay. I'm along for this ride at this point.
I was shocked.
I was just on the roller coaster and I surrendered. I was like, I don't care anymore.
Oh, man.
Where are we going next?
Yeah. Well, and that was my question. I was like, okay, like, what is going to happen next with this group of friends?
So the last episode, they're planning the funeral. And it's very awkward because Anne is planning the whole funeral.
Yeah.
And Ginny's like trying to, poke and prod in there. And Anne is really struggling because she's like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are you offering anything to this? Like, yes, you were with him for the last 8 months, but I was with him for most of his life.
Yeah.
So, like, you're irrelevant right now.
Yeah.
And...
But then on the flip side, like, they were divorced.
Yeah.
And at that point, like, Anne doesn't like Nick at all because he blew up their life.
Yeah.
Like, he made all these decisions. She's
super mad at him.
He was so, like we said, he is a really hateable character.
Yeah.
And rightly so. And so then she's got to, like, plan this funeral. And I think the last episode was probably the most confusing to me because I was like, okay, wait, so you want to plan the funeral, but yet you don't. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It was so...
Well, and I thought it was weird that she wouldn't loosen the reins and give Ginny, oh my goodness, I cannot with this name.
Ginny.
I know. I thought it was weird that she wouldn't give Ginny any part of the funeral. Like, she wouldn't even let her speak. And I was like, well, she's the one who's actually been relevant to his life for the last, well, like nearly a year.
Almost
right?
a year, yeah.
And
knows this version of him.
Yeah, knows the version of him that passed, right? Like, yes, it's like a lifetime of building that person, but still, I don't know.
Yeah, Anne is not loosening up at all. And, to me, the last episode got me, where I was just like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because, like, I enjoyed the rest of it, because I was like, oh, yeah, like, this... blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then you're going along, and then to me, planning the funeral, I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that for this show. I was like, not expecting a death, not expecting that. Mm-hmm. And I struggled a lot with Anne's character, because I'm like, you didn't like him when he died. So, I mean, yes, she's grieving. Obviously, then there's a lot of emotion. She's grieving her whole time of knowing him, right? Like, there is that, you can see that.
Yeah, and they've only been divorced for 8 months. Yeah. Like, in relation to how long they'd been together, that's a blip.
Yes.
And she even calls it that. She's like, your relationship with him was a blip. Right? She says that to Ginny. And Ginny's, like, there's times throughout the show where Nick's character, he just says, like, I'm the happiest I've been in my whole life. Mm-hmm. This is the happiest I've ever been being with her. And...
it's like a rub in the face to Anne.
Like, but also, again, kind of reinforces that awkwardness of Anne planning the funeral then, right? It's just so strange. And I mean, Kate is involved with the funeral planning as well, and like they're all kind of involved, but Anne is taking the brunt of it. But then the funeral ends up being this nightmare, kind of like, he ends up in an urn that's in the shape of a high heel, and like there's all this stuff. And
the funeral kind of is like,
we haven't even really talked about Kate and Jack's dynamic, because there's lots that goes on that we could get into like within their relationship as well. Maybe we can talk more about that in season 2, because they'll probably focus more on that in season 2 anyway.
Because theirs was kind of subtle throughout.
They're having their own issues, but this funeral episode especially kind of brings that out, because she's frustrated with him. She's like, you can't do anything right. Go to the funeral home and get them to lower the price of all this stuff, because we don't want this. And then he doesn't. He's like, well, the funeral director told me all these things were pretty necessary. And then she goes to the funeral director and is like, no, we want this, this, this. And then the funeral ends up being awful, and it's her fault. And so then that kind of blows up in their faces a little bit. Yeah,
and their dynamics, like, you do see a lot more surfacing from their relationship in that episode. Yeah. But it does mainly focus on Anne and Nick throughout the whole season, especially just because of all of those big things that happen.
Well, and honestly, like, each relationship, they have their own issues that they're going through, because even Danny and Claude at certain points, like, Danny had just had heart surgery. He feels like Claude is smothering him because he's, like, so protective and not letting him do anything. So then he ends up taking a job in Texas to be away from him for a few, I can't remember if it's months or weeks.
I think it's months. I think it's a few months.
And then the first time they see each other is the parents' weekend. So, like, there's lots of things with each of the couples. I think for the sake of time, like, we can just stick with Anne and Nick, because we talked about them the most. But the funeral episode, Anne has this opportunity partway through the funeral. Because it's kind of going to crap. Like, they're just like, what is even happening? And Anne has this moment where she's like, I need someone else to come up here and talk about him, because I don't want to, because I hated him. And I don't think that's fair to just have hateful words. And she has an opportunity to call Ginny up and say something. And even Ginny's kind of looking like, I'll do it, I'll come up. And she asks Claude to come up, who shares this story. And it's actually kind of sweet, because he shares a story about how he's a butterfly now. And then Danny, like, is so opposed to this. He's like, he's not a butterfly. And then he ends up seeing a picture of a butterfly, and he's like, oh. So anyway, there's this funny layers. But the funeral just doesn't go the way they want.
No.
And then after the funeral, or what were you going to say?
I was going to say, then after, they have this dinner together.
Yeah.
And they've invited, or No, is it Kate that talks to Ginny first?
Maybe, yeah.
I think maybe that's what happens.
Or Jack invites her, I think maybe. Or something like that happens where she gets invited to this dinner that they're having. Yeah, so then what ends up happening is they get back from the funeral and Anne ends up going through because Ginny wanted a slideshow of all of their recent photos. And she looks through it before the funeral and goes, nope, absolutely not. And Ginny's trying to say, like, well, this is the version of him that passed. Like, we need to honor that. And Anne is just having nothing to do with it. And then after the funeral, Anne realizes, like, okay, I've made a mistake. Like, this did not go the way I wanted it to. So she actually goes to the computer and looks through the photos and kind of laughs to herself. And she's like, okay, I could see that he was happy, right?
Yeah.
And then she ends up going outside talking to Ginny because Ginny is just breaking down.
Right.
Like, she's, like, having a really hard time. Like, the person that she was in love with at the time passed. Like, she's having a really hard time with it. Anne goes and sees her. She's outside. The other couples are having their own stuff going on. But, yeah, Anne goes and they have this, like, kind of reconciliation moment where she goes, like, I'm acknowledging that you had a relationship with him. Yeah. And
then
I didn't understand it. And I'm sorry that I didn't let you speak at the funeral. So then she invites her in to have this meal with all of them together. And
then Ginny...
She says... Okay.
Ginny drops a bomb.
Ginny drops a bomb. But at the end of this conversation between Anne and Ginny goes, and while I have you here... And then they cut to the other couples doing some other stuff. And at that moment, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Yeah. It was like, I knew. Okay, well... Yeah. So then they have this dinner all together... And they're taking a shot of, is it bourbon or something, or whiskey? Yeah. Something that Nick liked to drink. Yeah. And they all, like, pour shots. They all have one, and Ginny doesn't take hers. Yeah. Like, she cheers everyone, she doesn't take it. And then she announces to everyone that she's pregnant.
Yes. Another bomb.
And that's how it ends.
And that's probably what season 2 is going to be about.
That's literally where it ends. Like, it just
ends. I'm pregnant. I know. And I'm like, what did I just watch? See, the last episode had me being like, Kate, wait a second. What? Yeah. I was not expecting that.
I felt that way the whole way through. I was like, what is happening in this show? Like, I just don't even know.
But I think it's so interesting, like, because both Anne and Ginny have this moment of connecting. And as you were saying that, I was, like, remembering. And I was like, oh, right. Mm-hmm. They both had this guilt that they were carrying. Because Anne hated him when he died. Yeah. And Ginny had just had this fight with him. Yeah. And was kind of being like, I don't think that I can be with him either if he's not going to change, right? Mm-hmm. And she doesn't know. So this is what's frustrating to me, is that Ginny doesn't know that he went to the store, that he had this moment of, I'm going to change and whatever, I'm going to try harder, right? Yes. We know that as a viewer because we saw this. Yeah. But she has no idea.
Well, you know what? She might know, depending on, like, what they found at the crash and where he was coming from. Like, she might know something.
Maybe, but, like...
Maybe. We don't know that,
I don't know. We don't see it, so then it's hard to know, even if she would have seen those things, like, would she have known, like, oh, yeah, these are for my friends? Like, I don't know. That's what's hard, is, like, he was going to change, but then, maybe. Who knows? It looked like he was going to change, but yeah, it is a very interesting last few episodes as you're seeing these things, and you're seeing this guilt of how you can respond to relationships and your anger and your responses and all of those kind of things, and, like, planning a funeral out of hate is never a good idea. No. And that's kind of, I know. And
Millie agrees.
And that's kind of what Anne did. And then Ginny was also guilty and, like, I have to say these good things because I
need to make up for it. She actually admits that to Anne. Like, one of the reasons I wanted to talk at the funeral so bad was because I felt guilty for being in a fight with him when he passed.
Yeah. But I think, like, this show was just so wild. And again, finally, I feel like we're talking through this. 2 years later for me, maybe 2 or 3 years.
No, it only came out last year.
No.
Yeah, it said it came out in 2025. May of 2025. Yeah.
Are you serious? It only came out last year?
Yeah.
That it hasn't even been a year. Jacqueline, oh my word.
It's been like 10 months.
I seriously thought it was 3 years. That's how long this year has been. Are you serious? It's only been a year.
Yes.
was convinced it was 3 years ago.
Like an existential crisis.
I am, because I swear that feels like 3 years ago. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, anyways. It's only been a year. Okay. Anyways, I've had a year, but it has been 4 seasons. Yeah.
It has. We're back to spring almost.
Okay.
Anyways.
So, yes, to sum up, I've just wanted to talk through all these things because I think for me, I was going into it like, like this is an interesting show to me, seeing those things. And then the last 2 episodes, I'm like, what is happening? I need to talk to somebody about this because like, what is going on? Like, it's just... what is the show? That's kind of...
Honestly, I would say watch it because it's still interesting. Yeah, but it's just not, it's not the most enjoyable show.
And it's not going to be something that you're like, oh yeah, I really want to watch that. But it's good to see like for the first time. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Watch it once.
Watch it.
See how
it's interesting. And then watch season 2 to figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's
when they announced that they were doing a season 2, I was kind of like,
I actually think it would have made less sense to do season 2 if he hadn't have died, because then you would have just been seeing them in like all these seasons and it would have been like, oh, whatever, I don't really care after that. But now knowing that she's pregnant, I feel like they're gonna like,
I wish they would have waited to kill him off until
well, and maybe at that point they didn't know they were gonna get a season 2 or something. Who knows? But,
maybe yeah. Anyways, it's interesting. It is. I think there's just so many elements to it that like, in terms of relationships, there's so many things going on. Yeah. And we didn't even cover a lot of it.
just touched mainly on Anne and Nick.
Yeah, but like watch it if you love to like, what we do here is break down relationships. So if you like to analyze different relationships, because there are so many different types of relationships. Yeah. Even though they're all married, it's like very different. And so and then the friendship dynamics, like there's just a lot. Yeah. So definitely watch it.
If you have seen it, please let us know your thoughts. Because I'd be very curious to know what other people think of this show.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. As far as red flags go, I feel like we could probably be talking about this for an hour.
Yeah, because they all are kind of red flags. Yeah, like none of them, but like it's kind of like real life.
Okay, wait, but no, the one character I might have to exclude from that is Claude.
Oh, yes.
Just because, he's dramatic, and I love how they were like, he's in his own opera or something like this at one point. But he honestly, in like watching it, I was like, he's just a very loving, caring husband.
Yes. Like I felt so bad for him. Yes. When he finds out at the wedding reenactment, Anne asks him to sing. And she's like, can you please sing the song that we had at our wedding? And then he's like, oh yeah,
absolutely,
of course,
I can.
Absolutely. Because he wasn't there for the wedding, but he knew the song. And
he thought he knew the
song. So then he's like, yep. So then he goes and he's singing the song, and Danny doesn't have the heart to tell him that the song that he picked, Danny had told him that song was used in Nick and Anne's wedding because he didn't want that song for his own wedding. Yeah. So Claude had wanted that song for their wedding, but he was like, no, we can't do that song because Danny's like, no, I don't want that song. So then just to make an excuse, he said, Nick and Anne used it for their wedding. Yeah. So blah, blah, blah.
So while Claude is singing, Nick and Anne start laughing and they're like, stop. Like, that's not our wedding song. And he looks over at Danny and Danny's like
mortified. Like, Danny was major red flag right there. Like, poor
totally.
Claude.
Honestly, Danny was a big red flag. In his marriage, his friendships, he was a pretty solid friend, to be honest. But
they all had red flags. I agree though.
Claude's the exception.
He was pretty great. He added a lot of funny humor.
He made it the most fun. Like, also, he was the only character I consistently...
When Anne brings her guy, Terry, we didn't even talk about that. Okay, but there's a lot of funny moments, okay? So
there's funny moments.
There are funny moments. It's definitely a drama, but there are some really funny moments trickled in there. Really good actors. Like, they make you hate them. They make you love them. Like, yeah. It's good. Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, I think that's it. I think that wraps it up.
4 seasons,
And season 2... We'll see what happens.
We'll circle back. Maybe. Have to talk about that one. Mm-hmm. If we can get through
it. Yeah. I mean,
We'll see if I'm willing to watch another season.
I might have a solo episode. Me and Millie.
Yeah, you and Millie can talk about it. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Well, okay. Fave of the week? Not this show? No.
Fave of the week, Project Hail Mary. We just saw it this past weekend.
Yeah.
You forgot about that. Oh my goodness.
I'm going to piggyback on that because I couldn't think of one.
Yes.
Project Hail Mary.
We saw it. I've seen it twice already.
Yeah.
It just came out this past weekend.
It was
loved
really
it.
good.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I am not a book fan. Like, I know a lot of people went from the book to. I started reading it and I could just tell. I was like, this is just too sciencey. Because I was like, I could just tell this is going to be better. And I knew at that point that it was going to be a movie. So then I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait for the movie.
Yeah.
I've heard that the audiobook is really good though. So maybe. Yeah. But overall, like...
It was a good movie.
It was so good.
Definitely watch it.
It had everything. It had everything.
And honestly, okay, it was so much more funny than I was expecting. Like, I laughed throughout the whole thing.
I know.
And that might have been Ryan Gosling's best performance in a movie ever.
Yeah. Have you seen Fall Guy, though?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because that just came out on Netflix. It's been on Prime for a little while, but now it's on Netflix. You should watch that, because that's also comparable. I was thinking, like, this and Fall Guy, he is so funny in. Like, his humor is like, hilarious.
Even in Barbie, he was pretty funny. But that was, like...
That's a very different movie.
Yeah.
But Ryan Gosling, like, in a comedy is so funny. So you've got to watch Fall Guy.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's very comparable humor to me, and, like, a good story.
Is that with, who else is in that one?
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt, yes.
Yeah. They do a really good job together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
But yeah, like, he does so good. He's acting with... I guess it is a puppet. I thought I was...
Oh, I'm not surprised to hear that. It looked very realistic. Yeah, because
I was like, this can't be CGI. But yeah, apparently it is a puppet. And they had puppeteers doing...
a rock.
Like, Rocky... I know, it's literally a rock. But yet somehow you're, like, tearing up over a rock. And, like, his tears are so real. Like, I can't even give you...
such an emotional roller coaster.
It was,
and it's literally just Ryan Gosling in a rock.
I know.
Anyway.
In a tin can in outer space. Like, there's nobody else in the movie. No. But it's so well done.
Well, there's other people in the flashbacks. But like, we're
in those moments.
I don't feel like we're selling it, but trust us, it's so good.
We're not selling it. It's Ryan Gosling with a rock in a tin can in outer space. Okay, Project Hail Mary. You have to see it.
For sure.
You have to see it in theaters. It is so good.
Yeah, in theaters was a really good experience too. Don't go if you're like epileptic or something though, because it was like so flashy. It was insane. They didn't even have a warning.
They didn't have a warning. I know. The red light. Yeah. Okay, but anyways, go see it. It's so good.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway.
Bye.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode.
Please like, share, and subscribe, and feel free to leave us a review.
Share your comments on today's episode.
And join us next time for another episode of Bangcat Breakdown.